Where's the light coming from? And why are there no shadows?
It's like the light is everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
Elder Nahim, standing before them in his silver robes, smiled gently at their bewilderment.
The light you see is the result of advanced Atlantean technology preserved and adapted by the priesthood. It is pure omnidirectional illumination, a manifestation of energy fields tuned to frequencies of harmony and balance. Shadows cannot exist in its presence because the light permeates all dimensions equally.
Atlantean technology? That's remarkable. It must be extraordinarily advanced to create such an effect.
Indeed, the technology was designed not only to illuminate, but to cleanse and uplift the spirit of those who dwell within its influence. This chamber is a sanctuary in every sense of the word.
Satisfied but still marveling at the light, the trio settled back as Nahim's expression grew somber.
Now let us turn to the matter at hand. The time has come to reveal the full extent of the enemy we face.
Nahim raised his hand, and a holographic map materialized in the air, hovering with a faint hum. It displayed a network of lines and nodes, spanning continents and diving deep beneath the Earth's surface.
This is the underground infrastructure of Albakar. They have constructed a high-speed train system that connects secret bases and hubs beneath major cities around the world. New York, London, Beijing, Rio de Janeiro, Cairo, and more. With this system, they can traverse continents in mere minutes.
15 minutes from the US to Portugal? That's insane.
It's more than that. The technology is not their own. It was retro-engineered from Grey craft. Technology gifted or traded in exchange for allowing the Greys to expedite their agendas on Earth.
What kind of agendas?
The Greys are not benevolent. They use Albakar as a means to conduct their experiments on Earth, genetic manipulations, energy harvesting, and the proliferation of devices that destabilize natural frequencies.
The hologram shifted, displaying blueprints of humanoid figures interspersed with grotesque hybrid creatures.
In these underground hubs, Albakar conducts experiments that defy morality. Humans and animals are abducted to serve as material for their grotesque creations. One of their primary goals is to engineer minotaurs, hybrids of man and beast designed for combat. These creatures, devoid of individuality or autonomy, are seen as expendable tools of war.
How can they justify such atrocities?
They do not justify, they rationalize. To them, power is the only measure of worth. They see these hybrids as ideal soldiers, strong, obedient, and untraceable. Their deaths on the battlefield require no recognition by authorities.
The hologram shifted again, now displaying sleek weapons and armored suits.
The phasers they wield, laser weapons capable of immense destruction, are the result of reverse engineering Grey devices. Their armor, highly advanced and nearly impervious to conventional weapons, is also provided by the Greys.
They've turned extraterrestrial technology into instruments of death.
Indeed, but their ambitions do not stop at technology. Albakar's leaders have struck a more insidious deal, with demonic forces.
Demons!
Yes. Evil resonates with evil. The leaders of Albakar, consumed by greed and hunger for power, have become susceptible to the telepathic influence of demonic entities. These entities promise wealth and dominion, but they are masters of deception, using Albakar as pawns to spread chaos and destruction.
And the leaders of Albakar believe these lies?
They are deluded, unable to see that demons, by their very nature, cannot provide anything truly beneficial. They exploit Albakar's lust for power, driving them to commit unspeakable acts.
The hologram dissolved, and Nahim folded his hands.
Albakar's influence is vast, spanning governments, corporations, and media. They are deeply intertwined with the world's wealthiest families, using their resources to manipulate politicians, influencers, and societal narratives. Their goal is simple: to cause as much damage as possible, to create a world that reflects their psychopathy.
So they're not just an organization, they're a global plague.
Precisely. But do not despair. For every shadow, there is light. Albakar's power is not absolute. Their reliance on technology and external forces exposes their vulnerability. They lack the gifts of the spirit, for these gifts are granted by angels who serve the divine, and we have our share of advanced technology. Evil cannot resonate with such light, and we have benevolent forces on our side.
So their speed and strength come from technology, not true power. That means they can be countered.
Yes, their underground train systems and bases may allow them to move quickly, but they are not invincible. And remember this, those who walk in light are never truly alone. There are good organizations in the world, ones that stand against such darkness. You have allies beyond what you can see.
As the elder finished, the room seemed to hum with quiet strength. The trio sat in silence, absorbing the weight of what they had learned. The road ahead was fraught with danger, but they now understood the depth of Albakar's operations and their own unique role in countering it. As the sun dipped below Cairo's skyline, casting long shadows across the city, Esperanza and Itzamna sat cross-legged on plush cushions in their hotel suite, their eyes closed in deep meditation. The room was bathed in a soft golden glow from the setting sun, creating an atmosphere of tranquility that belied the gravity of their mission. Laith, however, found himself restless. The pull of adventure tugged at him, an irresistible force that had been his constant companion long before he'd become entangled in this cosmic struggle. As his companions sank deeper into their meditative states, a mischievous glint sparked in his eyes.
I'm going for a walk.
Neither Esperanza nor Itzamna stirred, lost in their profound connection to the higher realms. Laith smirked to himself. He had always been the outlier, the one who preferred action over stillness, discovery over introspection. As he slipped out of the suite, his confidence swelled. Who needed endless hours of meditation to unlock secrets when you had instinct, charm, and a knack for finding what others couldn't? He adjusted his leather satchel, the tools of his trade, flashlight, journal, and a trowel clinking softly inside. Tonight he'd prove his worth in a way no spiritual ritual could. The bustling streets of Cairo were alive with the hum of life. Vendors called out their wares, the scent of spices and grilled meat mingling in the air. Laith navigated the maze of alleys with the practiced ease of someone who had danced with danger more times than he could count. He wasn't just looking for treasure, he was chasing the thrill of uncovering the unknown, the glory of outwitting centuries-old secrets. Laith's footsteps echoed softly on the cobblestones as he made his way through Cairo's winding alleys, the bustle of the city fading behind him. The stories his grandfather had told him as a child danced in his mind, tales of hidden chambers, secret passageways, and treasures untouched for millennia. Tonight, those stories would guide him to glory. As the urban sprawl gave way to the desert's edge, the Giza Plateau loomed before him, a silhouette of ancient mystery against the star-studded sky. The Great Pyramid stood sentinel, its massive form casting a long shadow across the sand. But it wasn't his target tonight. No, Laith's eyes were fixed on one of the smaller, lesser-known pyramids, a structure often overlooked by tourists and archaeologists alike. The cool night air carried the scent of the desert, dry and ancient. Laith approached the smaller pyramid, his heart racing with anticipation. This was what he lived for, the thrill of discovery, the chance to unearth secrets lost to time. He circled the base of the pyramid, running his hands along the weathered stones. His fingers probed for any irregularities, any hint of a hidden entrance. After several minutes, he felt it, a slight depression in the rock, almost imperceptible to the untrained eye. Laith gotcha. Laith pulled out his tools, working quickly but carefully to clear away sand and debris. As he brushed away the last of the grit, a small opening revealed itself, just large enough for a man to squeeze through. Without hesitation, he slipped inside, the beam of his flashlight piercing the darkness. The air was thick with dust and the musty scent of ages past. Laith's excitement grew as he made his way deeper into the pyramid's heart. The narrow passage opened into a small chamber. Laith's flashlight swept across the walls, revealing intricate hieroglyphs and faded paintings. But it was what stood at the center of the room that made his breath catch. A stone pedestal, atop which sat a small, ornate box. Laith. Now this is more like it. Laith approached the pedestal with reverence, his heart pounding. As he reached for the ornate box, a glint of gold caught his eye. Turning, he saw a massive sarcophagus tucked into an alcove, its surface adorned with intricate hieroglyphs and inlaid precious stones that sparkled in his flashlight beam. Excitement surged through him as he hurried over to examine the sarcophagus. Its craftsmanship was exquisite, clearly meant for someone of great importance. Laith ran his hands along the edges, searching for a way to open it, but found it sealed tight. No amount of pushing or prying seemed to budge the heavy lid. Frustrated but undeterred, Laith's gaze fell upon a row of canopic jars nestled beside the sarcophagus. The jars were beautifully carved, their lids shaped like the heads of Egyptian gods. With trembling hands, he carefully lifted the lid of the first jar. His breath caught as he peered inside. Glittering jewels and golden amulets filled the jar to the brim. Laith let out a soft whistle of amazement. He quickly checked the other jars, finding each one brimming with priceless treasures, rings, necklaces, and figurines of pure gold. As Laith began to transfer the artifacts into his satchel, his elation was tempered by a nagging sense of unease. Laith's hands trembled with excitement as he transferred the gleaming treasures into his satchel. The weight of gold and jewels was intoxicating, a tangible reward for his daring. Yet as the initial thrill began to fade, an unsettling sensation crept over him. The air in the chamber seemed to thicken, pressing against him with an almost palpable weight. His flashlight beam danced across the walls, illuminating more hieroglyphs. Unlike the decorative scenes he'd noticed earlier, these symbols were arranged in neat columns, their patterns reminiscent of the spells and incantations he'd seen in ancient texts. Curiosity piqued, Laith pulled out his notebook and began to decipher the markings. Laith, to he who takes from the eternal sleep, beware. The treasure's gleam masks a deadly price. With each step away, life's thread unravels. Return what is taken or face the wrath of Anubis. Laith's heart raced as he finished reading the curse, his mind torn between the allure of the treasure and the ominous warning. The rational part of him knew he should heed the ancient words, but the thrill-seeker in him couldn't resist the temptation. Laith, sorry Anubis, but I've never been one for superstition. With trembling hands, he finished loading the last of the glittering artifacts into his satchel. The weight of the treasure was substantial, a testament to its value. As he shouldered the bag, the chamber seemed to exhale, a faint whisper of wind rustling through the stale air. Laith made his way back through the narrow passage, his heart pounding with each step. The beam of his flashlight danced erratically across the walls, casting eerie shadows that seemed to reach for him. When he finally emerged from the hidden entrance, the cool night air hit him like a shock, and he gulped it down gratefully. Under the star-studded sky, with the Great Pyramid looming nearby, Laith allowed himself a moment of exultation. He had done it. He had discovered a chamber untouched for millennia, filled with priceless treasures. The archaeological world would be in an uproar when this came to light. Laith, tomorrow, some archaeologist is going to be mind-blown when they discover this chamber. Zahi Hawass will be in a good mood. Laith's hands trembled with excitement as he pulled out his phone, unable to contain his elation. The weight of the treasure in his satchel felt like a promise of glory and fortune. He dialed a familiar number, his heart racing as he waited for his old treasure-hunting buddy Marco to pick up. Laith. Marco, my man. You're not going to believe what I just found. Remember those stories about the hidden chamber in one of the smaller Giza pyramids? Well, they're true. His words tumbled out in a rush, painting a vivid picture of his discovery. Laith? I'm talking about an untouched burial chamber, Marco. Canopic jars filled to the brim with jewels that would make Cleopatra jealous, gold amulets that practically glow in the dark. And get this, there's a sarcophagus that looks like it could belong to a pharaoh. As Laith described the intricate hieroglyphs and the curse etched into the walls, his voice echoed with wonder and pride. Laith, this is the find of a lifetime, buddy. We're talking about rewriting history books here. Little did Laith know that his exuberant call had set off alarms in a hidden Albakar monitoring station. Deep beneath the streets of Cairo, in a room humming with advanced technology, an agent's eyes widened as the voice recognition software flashed a red alert. As Laith ended the call, his excited voice still echoing in the night air, a flurry of activity erupted in Albakar's underground command center. Screens flashed with data, pinpointing Laith's location with eerie precision. The night shift commander, a stern-faced woman with piercing grey eyes, barked orders into her headset. Night shift commander, target located near the Giza plateau. Priority 1 capture to be taken alive. Deploy Minotaur Squad Alpha and Beta. Use non-lethal force only. Within moments, the smooth hum of advanced machinery filled the air as 2 sleek black vehicles emerged from a hidden entrance beneath an abandoned warehouse. These were no ordinary transports. Their engines purred with alien technology, allowing them to glide silently across the sand dunes at impossible speeds. Inside each vehicle, a team of 4 Minotaurs sat in grim silence. These weren't the mythical creatures of legend, but something far more terrifying. The result of Albakar's twisted experiments. Human in form but with bovine features, their muscles rippled beneath specially designed combat suits. Their eyes, an unsettling mix of human intelligence and bestial ferocity, glowed faintly in the darkness. As the vehicles neared Laith's position, they split up, executing a pincer movement with military precision. The Minotaurs deployed, their movements unnaturally fluid for creatures of such size. They carried strange weapons, compact devices that hummed, emitting a purple light. As Laith basked in the afterglow of his discovery, the desert night suddenly erupted into chaos. The air crackled with energy, and the sand at his feet began to swirl in unnatural patterns. His triumphant smile faded as he spotted two sleek black vehicles approaching at impossible speeds, their engines emitting an otherworldly hum that sent chills down his spine. Before he could react, the vehicles screeched to a halt, kicking up a cloud of sand. The doors hissed open, and Laith's eyes widened in disbelief at the sight that greeted him. Towering figures emerged. Not quite human, not quite animal, but a terrifying fusion of both. Minotaurs, their muscular bodies encased in advanced combat suits, their eyes glowing with an eerie, intelligent malice. Laith stumbled backward, his hand instinctively reaching for his satchel of treasures. The weight of the gold suddenly felt like a curse, anchoring him to the spot as the Minotaurs advanced. Their movements were unnaturally fluid, defying the laws of physics as they crossed the distance between them in mere heartbeats. The treasure hunter's survival instincts kicked in, and he turned to flee. But as he spun, his foot caught on a hidden stone, sending him sprawling onto the sand. The fall saved his life, as a beam of crackling energy sizzled through the air where his head had been just moments before. Laith rolled onto his back, his eyes wide with terror as he faced his inhuman pursuers. The lead Minotaur towered over him, its bovine features twisted into a grotesque approximation of a smile. In its massive hand, it held a compact device that pulsed with an otherworldly light. "Laith, what are you?" The Minotaur's response was not in words but in action. It raised the strange weapon, aiming directly at Laith's chest. There was a high-pitched whine, a flash of brilliant blue light, and then Laith's world exploded into pain and disorientation. Every nerve in his body screamed as the energy beam engulfed him. His muscles seized, his vision blurred, and his consciousness began to slip away. As darkness crept in at the edges of his sight, his last thought was of Esperanza and Itzamna, meditating peacefully in their hotel room, unaware of the danger he had foolishly brought upon himself. The treasure hunter's body went limp, the satchel of priceless artifacts slipping from his grasp. As consciousness fled, Laith's form was hefted onto the shoulder of one of the Minotaurs, his limp arms dangling like a rag doll's. The creatures moved with purpose, carrying their prize back to the waiting vehicles.